Good morning, this is your Stat Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is Rolling Down the River. And this time in the previous video, we were actually going through how we collected the data. In this one, we're going to go over the questions. So, first one says, what makes method 5 a cluster sample? Well, in a cluster sample, we randomly select groups, and I'm going to, even though it says it over here randomly, we randomly select a group. Select a group from a population, and then survey all. So what we did is we said, hey, you know what? We put the numbers 1 through 9 because we had 9 clusters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each cluster looked kind of like the population. It had some close to the river and some way away. So we had everything represented in each cluster. This one has some away and some close, etc. And we randomly selected a number. We randomly selected number 2. And so we selected this cluster and we surveyed all. By using the cluster, we know that we had some that represented close to the river and some that far away. All right. So the key thing is randomly select a group, and that group word is cluster. So we randomly selected a group or cluster, and then we sampled all. Okay. So then the next one was what makes method 4 a stratified sample? So let's look at method 4. All right. So method 4, we broke it down into groups, just like in cluster we broke it down into groups. And by the way, cluster and stratified are the only ones that breaks it into groups, but the groups are completely different. I'm going to go back to cluster. Cluster, we have some of each type. Stratified, we don't have some of each type. Matter of fact, we could sit there and go, if this is sophomore, if you have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, we have freshmen in one group, sophomores in one group, juniors in one group, seniors in one group. In this case, we had close to the river, still close, but not as close, or this is right next, close, still close, right in the middle, and this is way away. So we broke the strata based on how far they are away. Okay, and we had 11 strata, and we went to each strata. So we went to each strata, we went to each group or strata, and then we randomly selected. So what makes method 4 a stratified sample? Because it involves dividing the population into strata or groups and randomly selecting from each group. All right, so broke them into groups and were randomly selected from each group. The next one, what makes method 3 a systematic sample? All right, what makes it a systematic sample is we randomly selected the first number, which we put this in 1 to 9 in the calculator. We randomly selected 8. All right, we randomly selected 8, and then we chose every 10th number. So method 3 is a systematic sample because it involves selecting every nth individual, in this case, every 10th individual from a list after randomly selecting the first. So once again, randomization was employed. So this is also a good sampling method. Good sampling methods always involve randomization. Systematic involves systematic also involves randomization, and we'll talk about randomization again in a moment. Okay, so next question: what makes method 2 a simple random sample? What makes method 2 a simple random sample? All right, method 2 is a simple random sample because it ensured every member of the population had an equal chance of being selected. So in this case, we put every single plot number. All right. We had a chance to choose every single plot number because every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected, and every group has an equal chance. All right. And what that means is I just as likely to get 1 through 10 as I was this group. All right. Because the probability of getting that number is 1 out of 99. Probability of this number is 199, 199, 199. Well, the probability of all those numbers is 199 as well. So 1 out of 99. So each group has an equal chance of being selected. All right. The next one, what makes method 1 a convenience sample? What makes it a convenience sample is no randomization was used and what was easy was done. So method 1 is a convenience sample because it involves selecting participants or plots who are easy to reach and no randomization was used. So it says use the yield numbers marked in bold to estimate the average yield per plot based on the 5 methods. Well, the first one asks for the convenience sample. All right. And when we calculated the yield, we said, oh, the yield was 51. We had 9 plots. That's why we're dividing by 9. And we get 51 divided by 9 is 5.6. And we're always going to, for each one of these, we're going to multiply by 99. And we're multiplying by 99. Why do you think we're multiplying by 99? Oh, that's because there were 99 plots. So 51 divided by 9 times 99. Let's try that out. 51 divided by 9 times 99. So we end up estimating 561. So that's what we estimated total yield based on the convenience sample. When we looked at the, here, let me pull that back down so you can see it because we had 51. All right, for the simple random sample, we had 476, and we're going to divide it by 10 because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plots. So 476 divided by 10, once again, times 99, and we get 4,712.4. That's our yield. So that's what we're estimating our yield is using the using the simple random sample. The systematic sample, we said, okay, what did we get with the systematic sample? When I ran the systematic sample, we had 10 plots and we got a total yield of 439. So we're going to take that 439 and divide it by 10 and then multiply it by 99. And we get 4,346. Okay. We do the same thing for the stratified. In the stratified, we had 11 plots selected. So that's why we have 11 here. And our total yield was 504. So 504 divided by 11 times 99 is 4,536. And that's what we have here. And the last one we did was the cluster sample. And on the cluster sample, we had a total yield of 517, and we had 11 plots because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 517 divided by 11, then multiplied by the number of plots, and we get 4,653. Kind of interesting when we look at this. The systematic's a little bit lower, but all of these are well over 4,000, but the convenience only was 561. So, which method had the highest yield? By the way, answers on this will vary. All right, yours may be different than mine. I know it won't be the convenience, but it may not be the simple random. But when I look at that, well, clearly the simple random sample. What is the reason the convenience sample had such a low yield? And it was because the 9 plots that were selected were closer to the house and not close to the river. And apparently water is necessary for or helps corn growth. All right. Then it says, looking at the yield grid, which 10 plots would result in the highest yield? So it doesn't matter which yield grid we look at, which one had the highest yield. Well, when I look at this, I'm go, well, 97 is high, 93. It looks like those closest to the river had the highest. So that would be plot 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99. So we can scratch out that 11, but 11, 22, 33, 44, 56, 77, 88, and 99. Those that were closest to the river. All right. Based on the picture and the yields, what appears to be impacting the yields? What appears to be impacted the yields is how close it is to the river, which means water for the corn crop. All right. So basically what we learned from this is convenient samples may be a bad choice. All the rest weren't that far apart. The simple random sample for this one was a little high. The systematic was a little bit low, but you can see that they were pretty close. We're differing by a few hundred, where here we're differing by over 4,000. All right. I hope this helps with the understanding of how to conduct a samples and what the different types are. And real quickly, I want to run through this again. Convenient sample, which was our first one. Convenient sample involved no randomization. We did what's easy. We had homework due in stats class, and we had to do a survey, so we surveyed our friends at the lunch table. Well, that's not representative of all of Reagan. Here we put all of the names of Reagan, all the student names in the hat, in this case, all the plot numbers. We randomly selected 10 plots, and that was representative of the population. The systematic, we randomly selected the first number, and then every 10th one, that 10th could have been 100th, 3rd, 5th, 6th, it doesn't matter, every nth. Stratified and cluster, we both break into groups, but in a stratified, we go to each group and then we randomly select within each group. We might select 1, 2, 3, or more, but we're going to randomly select from each group. And then the last one is the cluster sample. All right, we broke them into groups. Each group has some close to the river and some way away from the river. We randomly selected the group and then we survey all. Keyword is surveying all. All right, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.